In 1949, a 3-year-old girl named Chin-Ning Chu ran across a Shanghai airport runway. She was holding her mother's skirt while bombs fell around them. They were getting on the last commercial flight out of China. Her family went from being rich and powerful to being poor immigrants in Taiwan. Everything they owned fit into a few suitcases. When Chin-Ning grew up and moved to America, she only brought 2 books with her. One was a famous book on strategy called The Art of War. The other was a small, dark book called Thick Black Theory. This second book was so honest about how people use power that it had been banned in China for many years. That book held the key to a puzzle. Why do so many talented people work hard but still fail to reach their dreams? Most success books give you a how-to plan, but they fail because they do not understand the inner state must reach for their actions to be effective. Many people are too focused on trying to be nice or gaining the approval of others, which causes them to ignore their own path and fulfill someone else's expectations instead. We are often so concerned with what makes us feel good that we forget what makes us great. Chin-Ning Chu spent 20 years studying that banned book. She realized it held a secret that all successful people use, whether they know it or not. She called this secret thick face, black heart. She believed this is a law of nature, just like gravity. It is a way of acting that helps people succeed in work, money, and personal growth. It is not something you have to learn from the outside. Instead, it is a power that is already inside you. You just need to find it and let it out. To understand this way of life, you must first think about a shield. In many cultures, people worry very much about what others think of them. They are afraid of being laughed at or criticized. This fear makes them weak. A person with a thick face has a shield that protects them from these bad opinions. This shield is made of self-confidence. A thick-faced person does not let others tell them what they can or cannot do. More importantly, they do not let their own self-doubt stop them. In their own eyes, they are perfect just as they are. Think about a famous leader like Ronald Reagan. He was not always an expert on every topic, and sometimes he made mistakes. But he had an unshakable belief in himself. Because he believed in himself, the world believed in him too. People felt safe and confident because he acted with a thick face. On the other hand, someone who is too worried about their own limits often feels weak and cannot let others. A person with a thick face can be humble or strong, depending on what the situation needs. They are like a fighter who knows his own worth. There is an old story about a great warrior named Han Xin. One day, some low-level ruffians stopped him in the street. They told him he must either fight them or crawl through their legs like a dog. To Chinese people, this was a terrible shame. But Han Xin did not want to waste his time fighting people who were not important. He chose to crawl through their legs. Everyone laughed at him and called him a coward. But Han Xin did not care. He knew he was a great warrior. He used his thick face to hide his power until the right time. Later in life, he became one of the greatest generals in history. He was strong enough to endure shame because his shield was thick. While thick face is your shield, black heart is your spear. This idea might sound scary, but it does not mean being evil or cruel. Having a black heart means you have the strength to take action without being stopped by your emotions. It means you can make hard choices even if they make people unhappy for a short time. Imagine a doctor from long ago who had to perform surgery before there was medicine to stop the pain. The doctor had to be able to cut into the patient while they were crying out. If the doctor was too nice and felt too much pity, he might stop. But if he stopped, the patient would die. To save a life, the doctor needed a black heart. He had to be detached from the pain to reach a good goal. This same strength is needed in work and life. A leader might have to close a part of a company that is losing money. If he does not do it because he feels bad for a few workers, the whole company might fail, and everyone will lose their jobs. A person with a black heart looks at the big goal and ignores the small costs. They have the courage to fail and the courage to be seen as the bad guy, if it is the right thing to do. They do not act out of a wish to hurt others. They act because they have a duty to finish the job. These two ideas, the shield and the spear, must work together. You cannot have one without the other. If you have a spear but no shield, the criticism of others will break you. If you have a shield but no spear, you will be safe but you will never get anything done. When they work together, you become like a warrior of life. You can ignore the noise of the world and focus on your path. However, having power is dangerous if you do not have a good foundation. Chin-Ning Chu says that the foundation of success is something called dharma. Dharma means doing your duty or taking the right action for the situation you are in. Everyone has a different duty. A soldier's duty is to fight, while a doctor's duty is to heal. Both are right because they are following their path. When you follow your dharma, life starts to support you. It is like a tree that gives fruit naturally when it is planted in the right soil. There is a story about a bookkeeper named Leslie. She worked for a small company and found out that the owner's sons were stealing money. She knew that if she told the owner, she might lose her job. But she felt it was her duty to tell the truth. She met with the owner and showed her the proof. Instead of being angry at Leslie, the owner fired her sons and asked Leslie to buy the company. Leslie had no money, but the owner helped her pay for it over 5 years. Because Leslie did her duty, she became the owner of the business. This is the power of dharma. When you do what is right, even if it is scary, success often comes to you in ways you did not expect. Many people think they need to be perfectly positive all the time to succeed. They try to hide their negative feelings like anger, greed, or jealousy. But this book teaches a different lesson. You can succeed exactly the way you are. You do not need to waste energy trying to change your personality. Instead, you can use your negative feelings as fuel for your goals. If you are a person who worries a lot, use that worry to plan better and avoid mistakes. If you have a bad quality like being very slow, remember the wombat. The wombat is a slow animal with thick skin and a fat belly. It does not try to be a fast tiger. When a predator comes, it crawls into a hole and uses its thick back to crush the enemy against the ceiling. It uses its negative features to win. Success also requires the power of endurance. This means being able to stay strong through hard times. In China, the word for crisis is made of 2 parts, danger and opportunity. A crisis is just a chance for a new life, but you must be able to endure the pain of the change. Think about the story of a mythical bird called the pung. This bird is so big that its wings are like clouds. Before it can fly to its destination, it must flap its wings for 6 months to create a huge wind. During those 6 months, the bird does not move forward at all. It just goes higher and higher. Smaller birds laugh at it because it seems to be working for nothing. But once it reaches 90,000 kilometers, it can soar across the ocean without any effort. Many times in life, we are like the pung bird. We are working hard and making no progress. People might laugh at us. But if we endure, we are just building the wind we need to fly. When it comes to money, many people are held back by their own minds. They do not believe they are worthy of being rich. Chin-Ning Chu explains that the Chinese character for money is a piece of gold with 2 spears next to it. The first spear is the battle with the world for resources. The second spear is the battle inside yourself. To get money, you must give up the rewards of being poor, such as having people feel sorry for you or not having much responsibility. You must see yourself as successful before the money arrives. To have this kind of inner strength, you must develop what is called the killer instinct. This is the detached courage to finish a task quickly and cleanly. It is like flipping a pancake. If you are too afraid that the pancake will fall, you will not flip it high enough, and it will make a mess. If you are too aggressive, it will land on the floor. To do it perfectly, you need a calm, strong, and detached mind. You focus only on the task. You ignore your fear and you just act. This instinct helps you ask for money, win a negotiation, or finish a long project. In leadership, these ideas are very important. A great leader is like a tiger with wings. They are powerful but also flexible. They know how to treat their people like their own children, but they also know how to be strict. A leader with a thick face and a black heart can accept criticism from their team because their shield is strong. They can make the hard decisions that keep the group safe because their heart is detached. They do not lead by being mean. They lead by being in harmony with the truth of the situation. As you grow in this philosophy, you start to realize that thick face and black heart are not about being a different person. They are about being your true self. Most of us have been taught to be nice and to seek the approval of others. This is like wearing a heavy suit of clothes that does not fit. As you practice these ideas, you start to take off those clothes. You stop trying to please everyone. You stop feeling guilty for having needs. You move through different stages of growth. First, you feel confused and angry. Then, you start to accept your own imperfect perfection. Finally, you reach a state of detachment. Detachment is the highest power. It means that you can have things without them. Having you. You can win without being proud, and you can lose without being crushed. When you are detached, you are like a lotus flower. A lotus grows in the mud, but the flower stays clean and beautiful above the water. You live in the world, but you are not controlled by it. You act with purpose, but you are not worried about the result. When you stop wanting something too much, it often comes to you naturally. To reach this state, you need to find ways to calm your mind. A calm mind is like a clear lake that reflects the light of the sun. You can use simple techniques like focusing on your breathing. When you breathe deeply and slowly, your mind becomes quiet. In that silence, you can find your inner strength. You can also practice living your life as if it were someone else's. This sounds strange, but it helps you endure hard times. If you imagine that your problems belong to a character in a book, you can look at them calmly. You can see the right strategy instead of being blinded by your own fear. In the modern world, we often feel like a small fish swimming in an ocean of sharks. The big companies and powerful people seem too big to beat, but a small piranha can eat a shark if it is smart. It uses strategy instead of just force. It borrows the presence of the tiger by connecting with powerful people. It attacks the shark's weakness. It knows when to move forward and when to retreat. Most of all, it never gives up. As you finish this journey through the book, take a moment to reflect. Think about the areas in your life where you have been too thin-faced. Where have you let the opinions of others stop you? Think about where you have been too soft-hearted and failed to do what was necessary. Remember that the power to change is already inside you. It is your natural state. You do not need to become a cold or mean person. True thick face and black heart are guided by wisdom and love. It is the love for yourself that gives you the shield. It is the love for your duty that gives you the spear. When you use these tools correctly, you are not just surviving. You are fulfilling your destiny. You are becoming the person you were meant to be before the world told you who you should be. In your daily life, start with small things. When someone says something mean to you, use your thick face shield and let the words fall away. When you have a boring but important task to do, use your black heart spear and finish it without complaining. When you feel a crisis coming, remember the pung bird and keep building your strength. Over time, these actions will become your new way of living. You will walk through the world with a calm heart and a steady step. You will find that success is not something you have to chase. It is something that grows naturally from the strength of your own soul. You are a warrior of life, and the secret law of nature is on your side.